John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hello, my name is John Ulzheimer. I'm a consumer credit expert with time at FICO and Equifax. FICO, the credit scoring company, and Equifax, one of the three generally recognized consumer credit reporting agencies. We're going to discuss the topic, and we're also going to do a little myth busting at the same time. So today's question is going to be, how does a closed account in good standing affect a credit score? And kind of a follow-up is, how long will a closed account still be factored into a credit score? There's a lot of myths that come out of this particular issue, especially as it pertains to credit card accounts. Whether an account is open or closed is considered in a credit scoring system. However, I don't want to leave you with the perception that that is somehow the paramount issue with respect to any particular account on a credit report. What's most important about the account, whether it's open or closed, is how it's being managed or how was it managed. That's always the most important thing as it pertains to accounts on a credit report, or what's called trade lines on a credit report. So an account that's open and in good standing versus an account that's closed in good standing, they're both still in good standing. So they're both positive attributes, or they're positive for your credit reports and positive for your credit scores. There are some issues with respect to how credit card accounts are considered by credit scoring systems when they're open versus when they're closed. And that has to do with the balance to limit ratios, which is sometimes referred to as credit utilization. The actual technical term is revolving utilization, but most people refer to it as the balance to limit ratio or the credit utilization ratio. It's all the same thing. It's essentially the relationship between your balances on credit cards to the credit limits on your credit cards expressed as a percentage. When an account is open, as in it's open and usable, or as in the opposite of closed, and I make that very clear distinction because there are some people who think that open always means the opposite of closed as it pertains to credit reporting, but that's not true. Open also has another different type of definition in reporting nomenclature. So I am in fact referring to the opposite of closed when I say open in this particular context. So when an account is open, meaning it's actively usable, it's an actively usable account by a consumer, then things like your revolving utilization are being considered in full, and there's no sort of dilution, if you will, of that particular metric or the consideration of that particular trade line in the utilization metric. Once an account is closed, then obviously you can't use it any longer. You can't charge into a credit card account that is closed because the credit card issuer or you, the consumer, has either chosen to close or it has been closed by the card issuer without your knowledge or consent. They just chose to not want to do business with you any longer, which of course is their right. So when an account is closed, then it's going to change the way that credit scoring systems treat that account as it pertains to things like the utilization metrics. So it may still consider some accounts, but it may also exclude other accounts, especially those that are paid off, have a zero balance, been closed for a while, versus those that still do have a reported credit limit, still do have a balance even though they're closed. And so there is some sort of variance as to how those particular trade lines are treated by scoring systems when they're open versus when they're closed. Here is a myth that pops up quite a bit, and it's going to actually help to dovetail into the second part of the question, which is how long will a closed account still be factored into my score? You may read articles with advice from people stating, hey, if you're going to close a credit card account, make sure you don't close your old ones because it could lower your score. That's all incorrect. That's all bull, what. There is no benefit for you closing an old account versus a new account vis-a-vis your credit score. As long as the account is still on your credit report, whether it's open or closed, the age-related metrics in the credit scoring models are still going to see and consider that account. Let me give you a great example. If I have a 10-year-old American Express card on my credit report today and it is still open, then credit scoring systems are considering that as a 10-year-old American Express account. If I close that account tomorrow, it is still a 10-year-old American Express account, and credit scoring systems are still going to see the date opened, and they're still going to consider it as being a 10-year-old account. So it's still going to help with the average age of accounts which is a metric in all credit scoring systems. It doesn't matter if you close an account that's a year old, or close an account that's 10 years old, or close an account that's 20 years old, as long as it's still on the credit report. That's the important thing. It has to still be on the credit report. Then it's still being considered by credit scoring systems for the age-related metrics. It may not be considered for the utilization-related metrics, because obviously you don't have a credit line to charge into any longer because the account is now closed. But as far as how long it's still factored into the credit score, the answer is very simple. As long as it's still on your credit report. If it's deleted in 10 years or deleted in 5 years, and obviously once it's gone, it is not going to be considered in credit scoring systems. But you can say the same thing about open accounts that are removed. If an account is not on a credit report, it can't be considered by credit scoring systems because credit scoring systems only see the information that is on your credit reports, open and or closed. So once that account information is removed, it's irrelevant whether it was open or closed. Credit scoring systems don't have a memory, so they don't know what was on your credit report sometime in the past. And so what you want to be aware of is that accounts in good standing, there's no requirement under any law to remove them from your credit reports. You can have positive information that persists forever, but the credit reporting agencies, at least as of the time of this recording, all have policies that they will remove inactive accounts after a decade. So after 10 years, the credit bureaus will remove them, but that's a matter of policy. That's not a matter of them doing it because some statute requires them to do so. So hopefully that answers the question about how long things are considered in a score once they're closed and how they're considered by scoring systems once they're closed. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below and I'll do my best to get to them. Thank you very much for watching and have a great rest of your day.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.